Blessings. This is Morning Thoughts with Teresa Beam. I entitled this story The Anonymous Christ, Part 2. Please listen to yesterday's podcast for Part 1. The lady at the ticket office was very firm as she told Johnny that there was only one train in the entire nation, in fact, the entire world, that could take him home. Only one. The Sola. It was bright red. It was the only train that was bright red, but it had a huge capital letter X in white on the front. If you didn't know the name and see the mark on it, then you would miss it. No other train connected with his home. There was no plane that could land there. There was no road that anyone could drive to get him home. No bicycle could make it. No skateboard or roller skates, nor on foot. There was nothing. This was the one and only way of Johnny making it home. By this train, the Sola Christus. The lady handed Johnny a brochure about the train and pointed to a man a few yards away in a nice uniform. You have to go over there and hand that man the ticket and say to him that you are going on the Sola Christus. To be certain you make it, you better be sure and tell the man, say the name of the train to the man. You gotta say it first to make sure you get a seat. Understand? The lady warned Johnny. He nodded his head and did exactly what she said. He wanted to be on it and knew by no other train under any other name was the Sola Christus. By that train alone, Johnny would make it home. And Johnny had faith that the lady was telling him the truth, and he believed the train would get him home. Johnny made the train that day. He sat next to a beautiful young girl who he quickly noticed was blind. He started a conversation with her and found out that she was going to the same stop Johnny was. He was in shock that she was on the train because she was blind. So he inquired, "How is it possible that you're on this train? How did you know that which train was the right one?" The young girl smiled and answered, "I was standing there wanting to go home, but I didn't know how. I didn't know which train, or even if there was a train. I've never seen one." "They didn't tell you at the station which train to take?" Johnny asked. "That was how I knew, because I was told which one was the right one. I was told about the Sola Christus." The girl thought, then answered, "I've never even heard of the station. I couldn't find the station anyway. I'm blind." "So how did you get on?" Johnny was confused and continued, "You could have only gotten on if someone told you that the Sola Christus was the only way home." "Well," she said, "someone took me on board and told me this is the train home. I believed them, so I came on board." "You didn't see the cross on the front of the train?" Johnny didn't know that this could happen. "You don't know that it is only by the train Sola Christus that you can get home?" he asked. "No," she said with a smile. "No, but anyway, I'm going home, and whoever it is, no matter what the name of the train, it's getting me home, and I love it." Johnny couldn't understand. He felt like telling someone to advise the conductor that someone got on the train without even knowing the name of the train. Later, when in the dining car, he noticed that someone deaf was sitting at another table. Again, he was so confused because it was only those who had asked for a ticket on the Sola Christus that he thought could get on. How could a deaf person hear the correct name of the only train that could make it home? He pondered, it really is the same train, no matter if someone cannot see the white cross or hear the right name. By the train of Sola Christus, we will all get home, but I don't know. I was told people had to know the right name. Then a very old and foreign man came and sat down next to Johnny. As they conversed, Johnny heard the story of how many, many years the man had journeyed to find home, and how he had collapsed long, long before he had been able to get to the station to find the right train to get home. He had been waiting to get onto the Great Way train his entire life, and he wept with joy that someone had helped him. Johnny quickly called security to get this man off. He was on the wrong train. The old man was not supposed to be going to his home. This old man wanted to be on the Great Way train. The security officer assured Johnny that the man was on the right train. He just called the train the Great Way train because no one had ever told him about the right train, the Sola Christus. But I was told that you had to know the name of the train, that the only way you could get to the right train, the only right train, was to know which one it was. The security officer took him aside and whispered, "There is someone who helps people get onto the train, the correct train. He's called the Comforter. It's the right train, don't worry. Before it was called Sola Christus, it was called the Great Way. This old man was helped to the station, and he cried for joy when he saw the Great Way. And for so long, many generations had misstated the Great Yahweh, and the name had evolved into the Great Way." Johnny asked, who would have known about the Great Way and would be able to help the man onto the Sola Christus? The security officer responded, "For most of history, no one knew the name of the train. It was anonymous, but it's the exact same train as the Sola Christus. It was and still is the only train, no matter if you're blind, deaf, awake, asleep, young or old, stupid or intelligent. This train gets you where you're supposed to be. Home is found in nothing else but this, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must get home." Johnny asked, "But what happens to the people who say the wrong name?" The officer looked down. "Well, some who do know the right name take it in vain and don't end up on the right train anyway. So in the end, it matters more about getting the right train and making it home, even if you don't get the name just right." "That's wrong, though. By no other name—" Johnny trailed off. The officer said, "We around here just say that those people find the right train by Anonymous Christ." Morning Thoughts was brought to you by Sunbeam Productions. That is SONBEEM Productions.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day.